Hello, everyone. Okay, here we go. That's my cue. Fortunately, I have a great helper who just gave me the wave. Yes, we're really up. I feel like we've already had a good deal of inspiration just looking at those comments from our panelists tonight. Hi, everyone. I am so delighted to be welcoming you to our third annual Investing in You Women's Conference presented by Atlantic Credit Unions. This is our second virtual Investing in You conference, but our first one that's hosted around Atlantic Canada. We are still thrilled to be able to offer this free event for women across the Atlantic region, as well as those joining us from all over. My name is Nancy Regan, and I will be your host, and I'm thrilled to be. We're going to be hearing from some inspiring local experts across the provinces on how to lead a more financially secure and healthy lifestyle. And what's a gathering without a giveaway, right? We've got prizes for each of the provinces, and you might just be a lucky winner. So you'll have to stay tuned at the end of the conference for that. Before we get chatting with our panelists, we do have a few housekeeping items to go through. I'm not much with housekeeping, I'll tell you that, but I can tell you, you may have noticed that your microphone and video are off. This is just to avoid any feedback or background noise. If you do have any questions for our panelists throughout our discussions today, please just enter them in the chat feature, and a member of our technical team will do their best to ensure your question gets asked during our Q&A. We are joined this evening by 6 amazing women as our panelists, and we've actually divided the conference into 2 interesting conversations. I can say that confidently. It is going to be interesting. We're going to have 3 of our panelists join us in the first half hour and 3 in the second half hour. And in between, at about 7:15 or 7:45, if you're joining us from Newfoundland and Labrador, we'll stop for a short movement break led by Darlene Steele, owner of Yoga Bloom Studio. But first, you're stuck with me for a few minutes. The organizers from Atlantic Credit Unions have generously insisted I share a little about my latest endeavor, and here it is. It's called From Showing Off to Showing Up: An Imposter's Journey from Perfect to Present. And I'll tell you a little bit about what this book is. I call it a memoir with a side of self-help. And it's really about my story. And it's very much, it's about me getting back to who I was before the world told me who and how to be. That's the most simple way I can put it. I worked for a long time in television. If you're in the Maritime region, you may know me, you may remember me from a show called Live at 5 on CTV Atlantic. I was there for a long time. You couldn't get away from me. I hosted that show for 15 years. Those people in Newfoundland and Labrador might have seen me on a brief stint on CTV Good Morning Canada on the weekends, but otherwise, I may be totally new to you. Here's my story. At 22 years of age, I started in an enormous job, and I really happened into a very lucky bit of timing and ended up as the co-host of Live at 5, which at that time had the largest audience of television viewers east of Montreal. And I was 22, straight out of university. I was also terrified, but I was a good actor. So I think of myself as the original poster girl for fake it till you make it. I really did. And I fooled the world, to tell you the truth. I fooled most of it. Maybe some of you knew that I was secretly terrified. This is the earpiece. You can see it's molded to my ear specifically, that I would wear on air, and it would clip on here and then this end goes right into a receiver. So when you're on live television doing a news broadcast, for instance, you have all sorts of people who have the ability to talk to you through this earpiece while you're talking to the audience. So the director might say, oh, we just lost our guest in St. John's, Newfoundland, or we've got a problem with camera 3, or we're going to shuffle the lineup. And you're listening to these voices while you're talking to your audience. I also had other voices in my head which said things like, that was a stupid thing to say, and I can't believe you made another mistake. Are you kidding? You do not deserve to be here. You can probably guess those voices were my own, the voice of my inner critic. And I hid it well. In fact, in some ways, my greatest mission in life was to prevent the world from knowing how I was trapped in fear. And so what I did was I put a good mask on and I acted my way through my life, professionally and personally, to a large extent. because I really wanted everyone to think I was okay and I had it all together. And the truth was, I was kind of close to falling apart a lot of the time. I had a lot of anxiety and I had a desperate fear of making mistakes. My perfectionism, which is why my subtitle is An Imposter's Journey from Perfect to Present. So perfectionism really weighed me down because I was constantly worrying about making mistakes. And the beautiful thing is that I can now look back and go, no wonder I had imposter syndrome. You know, I was 22 years of age, just out of university. I had no grounding in journalism or in broadcasting when I ended up as the co-host of this very popular show with 350,000 viewers. So you can imagine why inside, while I was smiling like this, inside I was like, ah. And what I've learned through my journey is that a lot of us feel like that a lot of the time. And we are so busy, we expend so much energy trying to show the world how okay we are that it detracts from our life and also our mental wellness, frankly. So my book is, as I said, about getting back to who I was before the world told me who to be, because I didn't feel my own light. No matter how many spotlights were shone on me, literally, I didn't feel my own light. And I have a theory that if you look at toddlers, they are so full of their own light. It is up full blast. And then the world, various aspects of the world say, behave, be good, be quiet. You're never told just be, right? As a child, you are told that you need to be smaller, and especially girls in the old days. I hope that's true. So for me, I realized that, oh, okay, I get praise. I loved gold stars. I wanted praise. And so I realized if I act in a certain way, I get praise, I get positive feedback. So what does that do? That tells me, oh, that's how I need to act all the time. And that led me down the path to changing who I was. That kid in Converse sneakers became a girl who was told by the world, here's how you have to sit, here's how you have to walk, here's how you have to talk and be if you're going to be a girl and if you're going to be a woman. And that led me down a path into a beauty pageant. I really can't believe I'm saying that now, but it's in my book. So if you read it, you'll find out anyway. And then into television. And I lost myself because I turned down from that child when I had the dimmer up full. I turned down my dimmer switch. I think of it as this round dimmer switch. And I think many of you can probably relate. If you got into your teenage years, all of a sudden you don't want to be on the radar. You don't want to be noticed. And so we turn down our light. Other people turn down our light, force it down sometimes. And sometimes it takes until you're 50 years old, like it did for me, to realize, oh, I think there's a light inside me. We had a dimmer switch when I was a kid, and you could turn it down all the way, but not click it, but it looked like the lights were out, but it wasn't clicked right off. And that's how I feel a lot of us are walking around in the world. We've got our dimmer light turned down. And because we don't want to be too much, we don't want to shine too much, we don't want to be too loud. And I'll tell you, one of the things I included in my book that is very vulnerable is my own poetry. And my poems are very simple. You could call them juvenilia, but they are launched from a place of heart and soul. And I think for that reason, they tend to resonate with people. The simplicity also really lands for people, and they can interpret them according to their own experience. I want to share this one very simple poem, which is really meaningful to me. And a lot of women have said, yes. So here it is. I'm not too much. I'm too much for you. I'm so much more than you can handle. So all this to say that I have been through this journey that was very much focused on turning up my own light and recognizing the light within. And the beautiful thing about that journey is that then you can stop being jealous and envious and threatened and intimidated, because then you can celebrate the light in others. And for women, that is so important. Instead of coming from a place of scarcity, to come from a sense of abundance and say, well, you know, I've got a lot to offer, you've got a lot to offer, let's combine our efforts. Let's have women supporting women, which is why I was so thrilled to be asked to moderate these panels tonight, because I could tell immediately when I talked to Kate Steele, who called me originally, that this was completely aligned with how I want to be and what I want to be doing in the world right now. So in the spirit of celebrating the light in others, I would like to welcome our panelists tonight, because they are a shiny bunch. I'm telling you, they might just dazzle you, because they show up. I'll tell you this one last thing. For me, showing off is about living your life according to other people's judgments, other people's expectations. Showing up is saying, this is me. Here I am, unadulterated, unadulterated. Get back to who you were when you were full of light and bold and brave. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. So I would love for you to welcome the panelists. And here they are as they pop up. Tia Upshaw, I'll do a drum roll. Heather McCauley, Julie Chamberlain, Star Cunningham, Tammy Christopher, and Vicki Mina. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good. How are you, Nancy?
There, I babbled away for a bit.
Fired up after that, Nancy. Yeah.
Nancy.
Listen, I want to, as if we were in a room together, and it would be lovely if we were, but I will say it's a really beautiful thing that we can gather, not only across the Atlantic provinces, but do you know there are people joining us from all over the world? I was so excited when I heard that. And that's the beauty of Zoom, isn't it?
Yes.
It's really enabled us to broaden our horizons a little bit. But let's pretend we're all gathered in a room, and I'd like each of you to just introduce yourselves. You know, I have bios. I could read your bios. It would take me hours because of all of your accomplishments. But what I'd really love to do is just have each of you say hello and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. So Vicki, I see you right beside me. Why don't you start? Vicki Mina.
Hi, everybody. And I'm so honored and happy to be here tonight. This is so much fun. I want to thank you, Nancy, for starting it off with that really inspiring message. I think I related, probably as many women did, to everything that you were saying, because so many of us have gone through or are going through that exact feeling. So I want to thank you for sharing your story, and I can't wait to read your book. I'm really excited to be here, because when they reached out to me to be part of this, I immediately thought, this is amazing. This is what my passion is helping to inspire and uplift women in general, but especially being brought to us by the credit union, because a lot of people don't know, but I spent many, many years in the banking industry, and I helped people plan their finances. And I know it can be a very sort of overwhelming, intimidating thing to talk about finances. A lot of people run from it. A lot of entrepreneurs run from it. It's overwhelming. And I really feel grateful that I had those years, because it gave me a life experience that I was able to move forward with in every aspect of my life. And being a woman in business, I feel like it gave me a background that I use it literally every single day. that background, not only in business and finance and in my work, but also in things as simple as marketing and planning out, how I'm going to operate my business, the principles of customer service. So I'm able to use those in what I do. But I'm passionate about women. I'm passionate about women in business from all walks of life, all races, genders, identities. I think it's really important that everyone is represented. So I'm really excited to be here and talk to everybody and learn from everybody too.
All right. Thanks, Vicki, so much. We're going to hand it right over to Tammy.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here tonight. Nancy, I'm so happy for you and your book. I cannot wait to read it. And to my fellow panelists, it's wonderful to be here with you tonight. So I am Tammy Christopher, and I am the CEO with Omista Credit Union with branches in Moncton, Fredericton, and Oromocto. And I am super proud to be representing the credit unions of Atlantic Canada tonight. And just a little bit about me. I've been in the financial services industry now for almost 18 years. I am a proud CPA, so I'm not a boring accountant. I promise you, I'm not. But that is my background. But I am super proud to be the mom of 3 adult children, and I reside in beautiful Albert County, New Brunswick. So I'm looking forward to being here with all of you tonight and joining with this empowering group of women. So enjoy.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Tammy, so much. Julie, you're up.
Okay.
Julie
Hi,
Chambers.
everyone. Thanks, Tammy, and thanks, Tia, and thanks, Nancy, for sharing that story. I resonate a lot with it. I'm Julie. I'm the CEO of Sweet Spot Labs, which is a company that is founded, owned, and run by women, and specifically Atlantic Canadian women. I myself also live in beautiful New Brunswick, in Hampton, New Brunswick. I'm originally from the north, and I have also 3 children, but on the younger end of the spectrum, I guess. They're not quite adult yet. They're quite young, all under 9. And so therefore I think we all can I think resonate with each other's ages and life stages, and all of the good learning that we can hopefully share and empathize with each other about. And I am so grateful to be here. I moved back to New Brunswick about 2 years ago now, after spending quite a long time away in my career, and I'm so grateful that I get to be here and be building my own network and be inspired by all of this women here, and be sort of reintroduced to Atlantic Canada in a way after having been gone so long. And thank you.
All right. Terrific. Thank you, Julie. Tia Upshaw, take it away.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Nancy, you're my little gem. I would love to have you in my back pocket every day. There's parts of your novel, your memoir, that I'm going to enjoy. And there's parts that I'm like, I wish I was suffering from that, because sometimes I'm a little bit too much for a lot of people. But anyways, we're not going to go into that. I'm Tia Upshaw. I am a simple person. I am a mother of 3. I am a serial entrepreneur. I currently run 3 businesses, and I am the CEO and founder of Black Women in Excellence, which is a non-for-profit organization that supports, encourages, and educates Black women entrepreneurs through their journey. And I'm delighted to be here because it aligns with everything I want to do. I'm all about empowering women in general, but my passion is, really empowering and showcasing and celebrating Black women, and having us in areas and in rooms and at tables that you normally wouldn't see us. So that is where my intentions are. That's where my passion's at. But tonight, I think we're all going to rock it out, and I can't wait to get grooving and moving.
Okay, I can't help but show this. This is Tia's t-shirt. I don't have a t-shirt with anyone else on the front, but this is how I met Tia.
Yes.
Okay. If that doesn't get you to stay tuned, nothing will. Heather McCauley.
Hello, everyone, and welcome from PEI. I believe I'm the only Islander on the panel, which is It's quite something. It's a real honor. I'm exactly what you would think when you think of an Islander. I grew up on a potato farm. I married a lobster fisherman. So I'm just the picture perfect stereotypical Prince Edward Islander. Like many of you on the call, I'm also a mom of 3, which my crew, and I'm looking at the clock, I am skipping bedtime, which like kudos to me. My husband came in and is taking care of that, even though he's fishing. So my kids are all under 5. So my life just feels like, you know, that point in life where things feel a little hairy and everyone says, just buckle up, it's only going to get crazier. So firstly, I'm a mom. I'm really proud to raise those little buggers. They keep me up all night, but they keep me smiling all day. I'm also a business owner. So I'm a co-owner of Volume 18. We're a consulting firm here in Charlottetown. And really, we started our business because of the time in our life. We knew that we had to carve our own path. We needed to be able to be our own boss. We needed to be able to work flexibly and instill values in our company that included our family, community, and wellness. So this feels super, super fitting to me because these are my values. And as a female-led company, really, really proud to be a part of this panel. And I recently just acquired a new business as well, which might or may not come up, but regardless, I'm really excited to be on the panel today, and it's a true honor. So thanks so much, Nancy, and thank you to all of you. We're gonna have some fun.
Yes, we are. Okay, thanks, Heather, so much. And now this other panelist, what is her name? Star Cunningham is an old and dear friend. In fact, I handed the baton to her when I left after 15 years on CTV Atlantic. I handed my baton to her and she took it and ran with it and outdid me for years and years. So Star, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here. And I held up your book because it's right here on my table. I've already read it not once, but twice. It's fantastic. And I'm so proud of you, Nance. You've done some amazing stuff throughout your lifetime, but that is really you showing up completely, fully, just putting it all out there. So congratulations to you. You make me very proud.
Thank you
so
much.
I worked at CTV for 23 years. And I grew up in rural Nova Scotia, Pictou County. I went to journalism school, started at CTV the day after I graduated from King's. It was what I knew I wanted to do. And I made the move almost 10 years ago now to the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia. And it surprised a lot of people. It kind of surprised me too, because it was a big move from being a host and producer to being a president and CEO of a not-for-profit, and a not-for-profit that, as we all know now, was just starting to really take off, given the focus that we have on mental health and mental illness and addiction today. Finally, we have that focus, and we're working to eradicate the stigma. So I have 2 children, 2 stepchildren, furry friend who provides me with a lot of mental health support. And I'm just happy to be here tonight to learn more from all of you wonderful women, and to remind everyone that self-care is not selfish. It's in fact the exact opposite.
Right on, sister. I couldn't agree more. And we're going to do a little self-care. The last remaining person in the box over, I don't know, this is like the Brady Bunch where we look at each other in the boxes. Darlene, give us a wave. Darlene is going to do a wellness break in a little bit. And now we're running behind already because, you know, when you get a bunch of women together and you start with one who talks too much to start, hello. Anyway, Darlene, I'll get a little information from you when we come to your wellness break. How's that?
Absolutely. Look forward to speaking later.
So great to have you here. All right, I think we just dive right in. Now we are going to start with the first panel, and I'll get the participants who are not going to be in the first panel to just turn off their cameras and mute themselves. And then we will get started with Tia, Heather, and Julie.
And then there was 3.
Here we are.
3. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so if you don't mind, each of you just give a couple of lines about what you're doing professionally right now. Julie, do you want to start?
Professionally right now, I'm the CEO of Sweet Spot Labs, which is a small growing company. So I'm really focused on figuring out what our business model is to scale across North America.
Yes, great. Tia.
You mean right now? At this
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah, I know.
Um,
It could be anything today, right? So
it's a lot, but currently my baby will be 9 years old, my cleaning company and Top Notch Cleaners. And I'm currently ramping up to move over to all natural products. So we're working on that right now. And the Airbnb business is doing its thing. Airbnb manages it. And my vegan lipstick line, I'm actually in the process of selling the name and the product as bulk because it's not my passion. I need to do something, a passion with a purpose. And Black Women in Excellence, I'm just out here. I'm out here educating people on equality, equity, diversity, inclusion, all that jazz. And of course, entrepreneurship in the Black community.
And I will say quickly that what you're doing is working because, Tia, I met you just a few weeks ago at an event, and you told me, I'm at this event because I put myself in a room where other Black women won't be probably, and I make sure that I'm there. And so I was so taken with Tia that when Kate calls me the next week to say, would you be interested in hosting this panel? I said, I think you need to talk to Tia, who I just met. And had you not put yourself in that room, I wouldn't have been able to make that connection. So I just want to say what you're doing is working, and it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, Heather, go for it.
I'm up. So officially, I am the Chief Movement Officer, and we tell people that, and this is at volume 18, whenever you own the business, you can basically call yourself whatever you like, because it doesn't matter. Because just before I jumped on here, I was doing the dishes and taking out the trash and sending out scheduling emails. Going to talk about that later, but scheduling my emails that are headed to my clients in the morning. So I am the Chief Movement Officer, and I also love to be on the move. I make a lot of calls from my car, and you just never know where you're going to find me. So that's volume 18. Check us out online. We do a lot of great, really cool, fun projects, and we're just in our 5th year. So we're just getting started, which also gives me a lot of excitement. And I mentioned I also just recently acquired one of Charlottetown's oldest or longest running businesses. We are a commercial laundry and dry cleaners, Stearns Launders. That's my partner and I, and we decided we wanted to have a business for our children and just to make things a little bit crazier. So really fortunate for that. So I just kind of bounce between here, there, and everywhere. It's just doing what I love. Never have a bad day. Like, sincerely, never have a bad day.
Wow. Okay, that's inspiring. I want what she's having.
Well, my kids are at daycare, so I'm like, this is easy. This is easy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the theme tonight is investing in you. And I'd like to start with asking each of you how that shows up in your life. What does investing in you mean to you? And Heather, let's bounce it right back to you.
Sure. I love this question because I'm a huge proponent of making time for oneself to be your best self. So personally, I'm a runner, which is basically what I do for fun, for mental wellness, social, like it kind of checks all the boxes. But by making that and carving that time out in my schedule, I'm blocked. Like if you see it on my calendar, you know, you're not going to get a hold of me. It's my medicine, and it gives me so much focus. It gives me stability. It gives me motivation. It's my time without my phone, which we spend a lot of time on devices these days. So that's my biggest tool. That's in my toolkit. And I've been doing that for a number of years. And it's also a community. I love community. So I could go on, I could talk to you about this. I could really steal the entire panel. But I believe it's whatever your outlet is, I believe it's absolutely critical to find that and to maximize that.
So it sounds to me like you are really good at protecting that time for yourself. Did that sort of come about over a period of time? Were you always good at that? Because I struggle with that.
That has kind of always been my thing. Like I grew up playing sports, and I've always made that time. So whether it's the early mornings or you know, in the day, at lunch, whatever that looks like, it is. And I really, like, I encourage those around me to find whatever that is, whether it's going for a walk or taking a moment to just, you know, have some silence or whatever that looks like. I think everybody's looks a little bit different, which we have to remind ourselves of, but finding what works. And like yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I admire that. And it's something I'm working on, because I think as women, you know, we seem to have so many commitments and so
Yes.
many responsibilities. And my own priorities are the ones that are the first to go often.
Mhm.
So Tia, what about you? How does investing in you show up in your life?
Mine's a little bit different. It's not so much, you know, taking time out for myself. Um, I had my first child at 14 and my second one at 17. And I made a lot of bad decisions that put me in situations that most people wouldn't want to be in. So I really had a lot of time to do me. You know what I mean? So I've already done all that, partied, nails, you know, went on spas, went away on vacations every 3 months. I lived it. But now investing in me is creating an individual that my children are very proud of, an individual that my community can stand behind and be very proud of, and giving every piece of my, you know, my soul, my passion, who I am into my communities and communities at large, to be able to be intentional just about change. So for me, that is where I invest in myself, is just making a better version of who I used to be.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's great. Julie, what about you?
I'll maybe start with what it looked like some years ago and bring it to today, because I think your question was interesting in terms of like how Heather got there with the running, and because it's really looked different over time. If you'll permit me, and if I'm taking too long, please stop me.
No, that's good. I love
But it started, I would say that the first time I ever really invested in myself that I can remember, like in a really conscious way, that looked a lot different from what I thought like society would tell you should do. Because for a while I was doing all the things or trying all the things. So I was like trying yoga, and I would try to, you know, work out, and I would like to get him, like, you know, whatever, buy essential oils, like and it just wasn't making a difference in my life. And I felt so overwhelmed, and I fell into a depression. So Star, I'm going to take the, you know, I'm going to rip it off and break the stigma right here. And then I said to myself, you know what, I'm just going, you know, I kept saying and replaying the story in my mind. Like the thing I was saying to myself is like, I just can't, it just feels too much. And I took a time out and I said, I'm taking, you know, 6 weeks off of work. I had, you know, a big job with L'Oreal, like a big title. And I thought, this is the end of the world. Like I'm going to kill my career and, you know, all the things, but this is actually what investing in myself looks like right now. And, you know, obviously it wasn't the end of the world. You know, I'm a CEO now. I couldn't be more excited about what I'm doing, but that's what investing in me looked like. And how that evolved was actually for the first time asking myself the question of like, what do I want? You know, what do I actually enjoy? What, like, just finding the time to do these things isn't making a difference in my life. It's not about work-life balance. Like if I leave at 5, I'm going to be happy. It's fundamentally that what I'm doing doesn't fuel me. So, you know, I think, and like, why am I doing it? I'm doing it because I need something from others. I want to please them. I want them to tell me I'm doing a good job. And that doesn't, it's like actually not fulfilling, and it could never be enough. And then I moved to like the things I should be doing. Like I should do this job. I should move to this place. And like, that didn't feel good either. The energy of that just wasn't life-giving. It was only like taking from me. So when I finally took the time to say, what is like the content and context of what fuels me, and kind of, you know, like learned that over time, I would say that that's what investing in me looks like the most right now, is really being intentional about like, is this filling me up or just draining me? And if it is a period of being drained because that's just what the job is requiring for that month or whatever, then I supplement it with like my friends or a good book like Nancy's. And like Heather, the one thing that's consistent every day, always, no matter what, no matter the weather, is running. But I eased into that. That was like podcasts became the way that I could actually run and enjoy it. And because I'm really high energy, like I really need that, or I can feel like stale inside and just cranky and just no fun. So.
Yeah. So, I think that we've all heard the metaphor that you really need to put your own mask on first. On an airplane, they tell you, don't put your child's mask on first, put your own mask on first. And whether you are a mother of children or a mother of projects or other people in your family, we're all mothering something in the world.
Mhm.
I think it's so hard for women in particular to really get that idea that it's okay to put our own mask on first. Why is that so hard for us as opposed to men? Can someone tell me that?
Because women are the backbone. We're so conditioned to be the ones who do everything. We always figure it out. We always figure out how to pay this bill, how to fix this, how to fix that. And when life is in shambles, we don't go to our beds. Like a man gets a head cold, what happens? He's a big sook baby. He's laying in bed with a box of Kleenex, and I can't even go use a washroom on my own. But a mother gets sick, a woman gets sick. She's not able to be sick. She still has children. She still has the supper, the lunches, the pickups, the drop-offs, the sports. She still has to do everything. That's how I feel that women are the backbone, because we're conditioned to be that. And that's just my opinion on that one.
Do you think it's hard for women to show ourselves compassion? Is that a journey
Yeah.
to get there?
Yeah. I think, if I look at those that I surround ourselves, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, like day in, day out. To your point, Julie, if it's not filling us up, we should really start to acknowledge that. But we almost have that guilt, and I have an example of where I used to, if I was trying to make time for myself, someone was like, oh, that's so nice that you can slip out. I'm like, well, that's not the intention. Right. So I think it stems back to the pressures that we put on ourselves. But I know that if we can start to show ourselves some compassion and some love, that it's only going to, work twofold. So
I would build on that to say, if we do it and model it for others that, because I think, back to the earlier question of the men too, I think so much of it is modeling. So if I think about a lot of the things that I do because my mom did it. And I feel like that's the way I'm supposed to be a mom. That's the way I'm supposed to be a woman. And both as a mom and as a leader, I try to think about, how is it that I can show, people that I'm like Heather, taking, that you're taking that break in the middle of the day, or not break, but going for the run and taking care of you, and I think that's so powerful, so powerful, for yourself, but also to model it for others, to almost give permission, because I don't think you
took the word out of my mouth, Julie. I was just going to say, what you're saying is you give others permission. And that's not unlike the reason for my book. It's a very personal book, but it's not about oversharing. It's about allowing other people to go, oh, I'm not alone. That's exactly how I feel. And if you are saying to other women, here's what I'm doing for myself, it shines a light on a path in a way, and they can say, oh, that's okay for me to do. And I love what I hear from you in that. What is the greatest challenge you face in business? I know this is a broad question, but as a woman in business, what do you think is the greatest challenge you've faced?
I will piggyback off of what Julie said. Mom guilt is mine. When I first started my first business, my youngest would have been almost 5. And, at that time I was delivering newspapers nighttime with her in the backseat sleeping, because I never had childcare. I'm a single mother. I'm on social assistance. I don't have childcare. And when I started the cleaning company, I had to go hard. And I mean, it was like 7 days a week. I was doing cleans at 5 hours in length, 3 or 4 of them a day, and only charged like $100 because I didn't know my market, right? I just knew I needed to get out of my situation with these 3 kids and stop living in a 1-bedroom. And to this day, 9 years later, because I grew through my profession, I'm on a certain, pedestal now where I speak for a community. So to this day, I still have mom guilt. If I don't have that conversation with her in the morning going to high school, because she's in high school now, she's in grade 10, and she has a business also. So I guess there's good and bad about it. Both my daughters, 23 and 15, have businesses. And, but if I don't give her that time in the morning, and I drop her off, I'm like, girl, what the hell did you do? You just spent that whole time on your phone driving with your child, but you're not going to see her all day and you're probably going to be teaching tonight. That's my biggest one, is the mom guilt.
Yeah,
Such an
that's a
inspiration,
thoughtful
Tia. I
answer.
can't believe you did all that to get yourself where you are today. Such an inspiration.
Oh, it's real. Trust me.
That's pretty real.
Yeah.
And Tia, isn't it true both of your girls have businesses of their own?
Absolutely. My 23-year-old and her partner, they have a luxury chocolate bomb business where they specialize in vegan, lactose-free, and gluten-free bombs. And they're bombs you can eat, not in the bathtub. And you'll find them at many different health stores around HRM. They're looking to start exporting outside of Nova Scotia soon. So we'll be working with NSBI for that. And my youngest, she actually sells eyelashes. I got them on tonight. So her business is called Lash Game. And she wanted to start a business at 13 because that's all she's seen me do. And I was like, well, just give me a little business plan. And she literally came to me with one piece of paper. This is what I want to sell. This is what I want to sell to. And that's it. And I said, okay, I'm going to invest as a birthday gift. No iPad, no iPhone, no Lululemon pants and tights. We're going to do a business. So I invested when she was 13 and she still has it moving and grooving now. And she's 15 years old.
Awesome.
So that's my proudest moment, is my
Love
two
it.
daughters doing that. But you know, the mom guilt, it gets me every time. And I just spoke to a few women through Black Women in Excellence who are members or who've been through my cohorts. They didn't know they were allowed to talk about it because it's not something we talk about. And I said, I'm not going to swear. I'm sorry, I almost swore. Screw that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to make this a conversation because it's something that needs to be spoken about.
Yes, and you break it open. You take away all the, the helium and bring it down to earth. Thanks for that, Tia. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's an interesting answer. Heather, what would you say has been your greatest challenge as a woman in business?
I think I will echo a little bit of Tia's comments there. Certainly there's particularly in the pandemic, that has played into, having that guilt enormously, because now we live in a world where you can't even get a cold. But I think ultimately, aside from that, would be the trying to prove myself, which I've come a long way to realize that, I am who I am and I can do what I can do, and trying to cut that, that fear, or that we're going to jump for you. We're always going to jump for you. We're going to take your call on a Saturday when I'm, hustling the kids to the rink, or I'm going to call you at 9 o'clock at night. I'm going to pick up that. I'm going to respond to that email. So that has been a big, and we started out to not do that. And we very quickly fell into that. We realized that we were trying to make our mark in the market. And we were trying to prove that, despite working in the industry for up to 15 years here locally, we needed to prove to everybody. And I think particularly with male clients, and not to compartmentalize, but I think we would jump a little bit more. So we're trying to get better at that, but it's certainly a challenge. And I think that comes with time and experience. But it's real. It's real because you put that pressure, you have enough pressure with the business, what projects are going to come in? What's our next big thing? Are they going to like us? Is it going to work? Is this going to flop? Is this a good idea? So those are the pressures, but then the other pressures that you just add on yourself can be enormous. So trying to let go and be we are enough and we're here to do the best job, and garner that trust. And I think by doing that, you kind of by default get more trust and respect, because all of a sudden people are like, okay, I like that they're going to draw a line in the sand. So yeah, I think that would be one of my biggest hurdles or challenges. I also, this sounds cliche, but I find with challenges, I'm what's the opportunity here? So what is it? So as a business, we decided last summer, we're going to close on Fridays, and we're this is terrifying. Just in the summer, sorry. So just in the summer in PEI, we're going to close on Fridays. We were terrified. We're they're going to go to another firm. They're not going to call us. They're going to be cranky. And all of a sudden we just garnered this tremendous respect from our clients and in the industry. And they're wow, good for you folks. So we're trying to lead by example. So just little by little, I want to live that, but yeah, so that's a lot.
No, I love it. That is shining a light on the path. There's a way here. And I do think that so often in business, having no boundaries is seen as strength, like, oh, I'll work all hours.
Yes.
But really, creating boundaries is the strength, and saying,
Yeah.
no, not
Yeah.
okay. I need a life-work balance.
And it's hard. It is so hard. Like it's hard to do that, but
Yeah. Well, I admire what you have done.
one step at a time.
Yeah. Well, here's to Fridays on PEI. I might
Yes,
join
do
you.
it. We want everybody to do it. Like, let's implement it like Atlantic, Canada wide, unless you're in tourism, but we want to do more of that. Yeah.
All women business shut down Friday.
We're closed.
We're everywhere through Atlantic Canada. All women run business. It's closed down. See what happens.
Right? Let's put that
And
on
all-
Twitter.
And we'll all meet on the beach in PEI.
Yeah.
Julie, Julie, can you address that question in terms of what's been your greatest challenge as a woman in business?
Sure. I think for me, it's been like trying to lead like a man. So what I mean by that is like, and I think it's, you know, if I was to psychoanalyze myself, like probably Heather, what you said about not feeling enough, like I think that's, you know, just this feeling of not enough as I am. And that, so therefore that feeling of being out of integrity with myself. And like specifically what I mean by that, it's like, you know, like looking around me at the male leaders, you know, that were around me and my companies I've been in and so on, and being like them. So meaning like not leaning into my intuition, not like closing myself off in some ways, you know, not connecting with my employees the way, or even like colleagues or whatever, you know, like not asking for help, like all the things, like kind of doing what I thought was the way to be the way I should be, back to the shoulds again, shoulding myself. And that feeling that it just, on the one hand, it's not your full light because you're not really actually bringing to the table that, because I'm good at that. I can do that. And I want to turn some of those aspects of myself on when I choose to turn them on. But, you know, also use like the more feminine parts of me and the things that like make me special and make me feel good. So I think it's been like finding that balance of the two, and it's neither, you know, one or the other, but really coming with like the full blend of it, if that makes sense.
So that to me sounds like a superpower. And I was going to say to finish off this panel, I wanted to ask, what is your superpower as a woman in business?
That wasn't on the question.
On that one.
Oh, I know that wasn't on the list.
I'm totally kidding.
I warned you. I would go rogue.
I love it. Totally kidding.
You definitely went rogue, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah, if anyone can answer that, you can go.
I would. My tenacity, literally, I have tenacity in the ass, like literally. I like to kick in doors, break glass ceilings, every step I take for change. And my resiliency, I overcome every single obstacle. It may not be immediately, but I do not allow it to break me. And a lot of people are not built that way, but for whatever reason I am. So I just keep going and going and going until someone says yes. That's my superpower. It's like, yay, Tia.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Heather, what does your cape say on the back of it?
I think it's my, like, this is a big question. I think it's my ability to dream big. So I started on a potato stand on Main Street in Surrey, Prince Edward Island, with population of, I don't know, 700. And from that very moment, I had this like innate, you know, notion that I was going to get into business. I was going to be a part of the community. And here I am on this panel. Like, I'm sure people will be like, wow, she made it. But I think it's the optimism, and I'm very realistic, but I have a lot of optimism. I have a lot of hope. And you know, we're all faced with adversities and challenges like daily, whether it's family or whether it's society or whatever might be happening in the world. But I think my ability to dream big and to continue to, you know, really dig deep in challenging times and have hope is something that I think is, I'm having a hard time saying this because I'm like, yeah, is that true? But I really do believe that it's an attribute of mine that I'm pretty proud of. So
Yeah, then speak it. I love it. Thank you. Thank
I'll
you.
try. Yeah.
Julie, I think you already gave us one. What if you were asked that unfair question that wasn't on the list? What's your superpower in business?
I would say my ability to like foster psychological safety with people, like not just the people the people on my team, the people like partners in business and so on. And especially like with what I'm doing now, it's so important because ultimately, like, what do I do, right? Like, I mean, I need it takes a team, it takes investors, it takes partners, it takes, retailers and consumers to love the brand. And especially with the kind of brand that we have, which is quite intimate, the ability to make people feel like really safe and comfortable so that they can shine. And I know that sounds really cliche, but it's actually not easy. Like if you're in a fear-based culture, if you fear making mistakes, if you fear showing up as yourself, if, like the perfectionism, all those kinds of things, just, being comfortable in me, and creating an environment where other people feel like safe, which is not a way I would have thought of previously when I was just being like a man. I think that's a superpower that everyone has.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. I think of the fact that this is a business panel, so to speak, and we haven't really talked about money yet at all. We will in our second half, I think, but this is really important. This is, we are human beings in business. And I always think of it as that little, when you have to do the CAPTCHA thing to access something to prove that you're a human, pick the pictures. Well, I think that's true in business. Like we have to connect as human beings. We have to show our humanity in order to really make connections. And that's when your business will really start to flourish, when you unleash yourself, a la all three of you. So I just want to say thank you so much for being part of this. I want to say that Vicky piped in on the comments and said #shutdown Fridays.
Yes. Yes.
We might have started something here.
Trending. It's trending.
It wasn't me. I played no part in that.
Anyway, well, listen, we'll bring you back at the end, but thank you all so much. Any parting words? I don't want to cut you off. I know we're tight for time, but I'd love to know any last thing you want to say.
Be kind to yourself. And of course, it is a beautiful day to be a Black woman.
That's great.
I think I would just kind of echo that and say you are enough. Just remind yourself of that when you're headed in 19 different directions, that you are enough.
Yeah, right
and
on.
I'm so proud that you're here, to everyone who showed up today, because that's investing in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You have to believe in yourself enough to invest in yourself and give yourself the gift of your own attention. Okay, well, right now we are going to do a shutdown moment where we all just have a little wellness break. So I'm going to temporarily say goodbye to the three of you and thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Julie, Heather, Tia, you're awesome. I mean that so sincerely. And thank you for showing up, because in my vernacular, you are all showing up in such a meaningful and full way in the world. So it's inspiring, really. Okay, now turn off your cameras.
You're gonna make me cry, Nancy. Bye. Bye.
Bye, that's my specialty, Tia. Okay, Darlene, come on and join us. What have you got for us, Darlene? Well, hello there. Now, Darlene, it's your turn in the spotlight. Tell us a little bit about you.
So my name is Darlene Steele. I'm here in it's sunny tonight, St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. And I opened a yoga studio just in November, so just before Christmas of this year, Yoga Bloom Studio here in St. John's. And I started yoga myself about 10 years ago. So I found just coming to the mat, it was just such a great way. We've been talking so much tonight about investing in ourselves. So for me, this feeling that I have when I left the mat, I'm like, oh, I just want to share that with everybody. So about 3 years ago, I did my teacher training and I did some teaching from home. Anyway, in November, I thought, even this COVID world, I'm going to bite the bullet and open a studio. So far, so good. Just so happy to bring this gift of yoga to people. So I'm happy to be here tonight to share it with you all.
And what is your greatest way of investing in you?
Well, I think we all talked, earlier about just taking time for yourself, and even just a few minutes every day, because I think that's so important. And we're running, doing things for everybody else. So just taking, even if you just have 5 minutes to sit and breathe, but I think it's so important, and it's not selfish, because if you can't take care of yourself, you really can't be present for anybody else.
Yeah. And presence is a powerful tool in life and in business.
Absolutely. You have to have that. And in your, if your mind isn't present, you can't be fully present in any other way. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to hand it over to you, and
Thank you.
everyone can enjoy this little movement break or wellness break.
Thank you. So everybody, welcome. And as we've been speaking about tonight, we're talking about showing up. So thank each and every one of you for showing up this evening and investing in yourself. So taking this time to invest in you. So with this little wellness break, we're just going to find a comfortable seat. So I'm assuming most of you are sitting in a chair at home. If you are on a chair with wheels, I just want to throw that in, be careful. So I'm just going to take my chair back a little here so you can see me a little more and what I'm doing. If your feet can comfortably come to the floor, you can do that. If you have a little pillow, you can even put that behind your back. But we want to sit nice and tall here. So imagine somebody had a string at the crown of your head and they're lifting you nice and tall, straight spine from seat to crown. We're trying to get head over heart, heart over pelvis, and just take a moment here. So when we think of yoga, people often think of a big workout and so much, oh, I'm not flexible enough. But the reality is yoga is just this, sitting, breathing, being present. So we're going to start this wellness break with some breathing, with some breath practice, our prana. So I invite you now, if it's okay for you, to begin to close your eyes or keep your gaze low. And just take a second here. See how it feels to sit here. I know we've been taking in such amazing information, so I'm not expecting everyone's mind to suddenly be free, but we're just going to still the mind here. We're going to give the thinking mind a break. We're going to place one hand on your beautiful belly, one hand on your shining heart. And we're going to inhale now. And as you inhale, imagine the belly like a balloon filling up with air. So you're filling up that belly, feeling that breath, that beautiful prana coming in through the nose, filling up through the front line of the body. And as you exhale now, imagine pulling belly button to spine, and exhale all that old stagnant air from the lungs, either through your nose or through pierced lips as if you're whistling. We're going to take 3 more slow inhaling. So again, filling up. We spend so much time sucking in, tucking in that belly. We're going to let it be free here this evening. And then exhale, belly button to spine. So moving slowly here, breathing in this breath practice. Maybe you count your inhales, and then maybe your exhale is a count or 2 longer. So breathing in this way, slow breaths in, reminding yourself this is a tool we all have in our toolbox, this breath practice. You can come to it at any time. Continue your breathing here now. Maybe you're stopped at a red light. Maybe you're at the office, you're at home. We instantly send a message to our nervous system that all is well. And all is well in this very moment. In this very moment, all we have, we can't control anything that happened behind us in the past. We can't control the future, just what is happening in this present moment. Releasing hands now back to your thighs. Let them gently rest in the thighs. We're going to blink the eyes open if you have them closed. Put a smile on your face. Slowly inhale your shoulders up towards your ears. As you exhale now, imagine you have a pencil and you're trying to pinch it between your shoulder blades. Let those shoulders come down. We'll do 2 more slow. Inhaling up. Exhale, sigh down. We spend so much time with the shoulders forward. Inhale up. We just tend to exhale down. We tend to round forward. So we're just trying to reverse that a little. Take a few shoulder shrugs back here. We'll take our left hand now, hold on the side of your chair. Inhale, reach that right arm up and take it over the ear. So a nice stretch here, really reaching out through those right fingers. Inhale, sweep that right arm up and over, back down, holding onto the chair. And now that left arm sweeps up on an inhale, reach it up. Exhale, take it over the ear on this side. We're just gonna go back and forth here at your breath pace. So inhaling one side and exhaling to the other. We'll do one more on each side like that. This is a really nice way to move the spine here. Inhaling up and exhaling, take it over. And now we're going to take both arms up towards the ceiling, but drop your shoulders. So we don't want this. We don't want to hold the shoulders. We want to release the shoulders down. Open up through your heart. Let the heart shine here. We're going to take a little twist to your left. So move slowly, moving belly, ribs, and chest. And your right hand is going to hold onto the chair. Maybe you reach up with your left arm, inhaling, or maybe you reach back as you gaze over your left shoulder here. So twisting here, we're getting a little massage for the internal organs, twisting out the spine, wringing out all the things we don't need, making room for all those wonderful things here. Inhale, exhale, slowly take it over to back to center. Inhale, reach it up. We're going to twist now to your left, belly, ribs, and chest. Left hand reaches for your chair. Right arm can stay up towards the ceiling, or maybe you take that right arm back as you gaze now over your right shoulder. Drop your shoulders, chin is parallel. Take a breath here, inhaling. Exhale, slowly unwind, coming back to center. Take a nice breath. We're going to release the shoulders here, do some shoulder work, take the hands to the shoulders. Imagine now you have two weights on your elbows, so just let them be heavy here for a breath. Reminding yourself to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Inhaling, take the elbows together up towards the ceiling. Maybe the elbows touch, or maybe they're not even close, but it's okay. Exhale, round the elbows down and back. So two more like that. Inhale, elbows up towards the ceiling. Exhale, rounding down and back. Remember, a little goes a long way. So just a few minutes in this movement is so good for you. Inhaling up, exhaling down and back. Release the hands down. Good job. We're going to stand up here now for a few moments. So getting up from your chair, we'll just take the chair, move it to the side here. Hope you can all see at least most of me. So we're going to take a mountain pose. So nice, strong. I love this pose. It's the foundation of all yoga poses. We're going to use your foot to measure your approximate hip width. We often stand so far apart and our hips are usually not that far apart. So just take a nice stance here, nice strong mountain. Inhale, shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, palms forward. So nice tall spine here, chin is slightly tucked, taking up space, repeating to yourself in your mind, I am strong. I am strong. Bending the knees, so nice bend in the knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, take a nice bend of the knees as you begin to fold down over your legs. So protecting the lower back here, bending the knees. Maybe you reach for opposite elbows and let your head hang. Shaking the head yes, and nodding the head no. So really hanging. Maybe you move from side to side here. Releasing through that lower back, releasing through the neck. Wiggle your jaw. So wiggle your jaw here. Often we hold so much tension in our jaw. We really can't fully release tension in the body if we're holding it in our jaws. So now let the arms hang down. I say Raggedy Ann and Andy arms. So really release those arms. Put the weight into your feet. Think of taking your belly button to your spine as you inhale now. Back to standing. Sweep those arms up. Take the palms towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, hands down to heart center, down to prayer. We're going to do just a little balance, but please come to a wall at home. Hold your chair or even maybe your desk. So we're going to start here with your right foot. So lift the toes of your right foot and really press down to the big toe and the pinky toe side of your foot, all four corners of your foot. Get that right leg nice and strong, slight bend in your right knee. So you can hold your chair or the wall for balance. Your left hand can be on your hip. And now just imagine here that you're lifting your left knee up with a string. So you have your left knee up, you're balancing here. Rotate the ankle on that left foot here. Take a breath. Maybe you reach your left arm towards the ceiling. Nice tall spine. Inhaling now. Exhale, perhaps you kick that left foot forward, reach your toes towards you, and then gently let your left foot come down and release your left arm. We're going to do this on the opposite side now. So holding something with your left hand or coming to a wall if you need some support here for your balance. We want to take that left foot, lift the toes, place them down, let your heel be down, left knee bends slightly, right hand can stay on your hip, left hand can be holding something for balance. And again, imagining now your right knee is lifting up with a string. Take a breath here. So with balance, it helps sharpen our focus. It helps us moving around, preventing falls. Inhale, reach the right arm, perhaps towards the ceiling. Take a breath here. Kick out that right leg, engage the toes towards you, rotate the ankle. Inhale, exhale, slowly down. Good job. We're going to take 3 shoulder shrugs now. This is really nice to do at any time. So as you inhale, slight bend of the knees and begin to take the shoulders towards the ears. And as you drop the shoulders, you're going to side out. We'll do 2 more. Inhaling up. Exhale down. And 1 more, inhaling up. Exhale down. Oh, that feels really good. We're just going to do a little movement called, I call it helicopter arms. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale the hands to one side, exhale to the other. So this is nice to create some energy. We got 3 more fantastic panelists coming up here. So getting ready for this next part of this Investing in You seminar. And we're going to release the arms. We're going to give ourselves now a big hug. So inhale, spread the arms, let the heart shine forward. Exhale, right arm over left. You can hug for shoulders or shoulder blades. Inhale, nose towards the ceiling, and exhale, chin to chest. Take a breath here. Give yourself a big I love me hug. Inhale, open it up again, spread those arms. And as you exhale, left over right, reaching for shoulders or shoulder blades. Lengthen up, and then exhale, chin to chest. Take a breath here. Feels so good. And then release, shake it out. We're going to create a little energy here. Do the hokey pokey. Take the hands up towards the ceiling. Reach it up. And then we're going to just sit back in the chair just for a moment or two before we come back into the rest of your seminar this evening. So again, reminding yourself here that whatever is best for you. So if it's yoga, if it's walking, running, whatever, it's so nice to move because the body benefits so much from movement, but the mind benefits so much from stillness. So finding what is right for you, carving that little bit of time out for you is so important. I invite you now as we end our little wellness session to close your eyes here. Sitting nice and tall, coming back to a couple of slow breaths, inhaling and exhaling. I just want you to repeat this affirmation to yourself. May my heart be filled with loving kindness. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be peaceful and at ease. Maybe you take the hands now and create some heat. So rub those palms together. And then gently place the hands just over the eyes, feeling that warmth, that heat now melting down, down, down through the face. And let that heat melt away any last remnants here of stress or tension you may be holding. Let the hands come back to your heart space. Sitting nice and tall, telling yourself, I am enough, because my friends, you are. The light in me bows to that very same bright, big, beautiful light in each of you with Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Enjoy the rest of this wonderful Investing in You seminar. I wish you all nothing but the best, light, love, and happiness. Enjoy.
Oh, Darlene, I can't resist. I have to say namaste around for the rest of the conference. Darlene, thank you so much. That was just beautiful. And, you know, I loved what you said about being compassionate to yourself. I did an interview several years ago for a podcast that I do with Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, of course.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And she had such an important message. She said, you know, my main thing right now is that whatever room I walk into, I want to be love in the room. And she said, and if I walk into a room and I'm the only one there, that's who I'm supposed to love.
Absolutely.
And that was
I love that.
Revolutionary.
That is, it's huge. And I always say to people, treat yourself as if you would treat a good friend.
Yes.
Because just imagine how that would change how our voices in our head and how we act towards ourselves. Way more compassionate and understanding and fair and kind. So keep that in mind, everybody.
Yeah, it's so true. And so often we talk to ourselves in a way we would never talk to a friend.
Never. Right? So I always say that, you know, when anyone's asking for advice, I'm like, now how would you respond if a friend came to you with that? And you would be much kinder to yourself.
Darlene, thank you so much. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Again, Darlene's business is Yoga Bloom Studio. And if you're in Newfoundland, go support her. And I promise she'll support you by helping you relax and be self-compassionate. Okay, I'd like to introduce you to our panelists for our second half of the conversation now. Vicki Mina is, as she said earlier, a former banker, now entrepreneur in the field of beauty. But I know for a fact she also works on inner beauty with her clients and customers. Star Cunningham is the president and CEO of the Nova Scotia Mental Health Foundation, a former broadcaster, and a best-selling children's author, overachiever extraordinaire. And Tammy Christopher is the CEO of Omista Credit Union in New Brunswick. Thank you, Atlantic Credit Unions, for tonight. It's so wonderful that you're putting this on. Tammy is a financial wizard, but also a well-rounded human. So that's what's better than that.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. That's very kind of you to say.
I would love to start with the same question I asked the first panel in terms of how does investing in you show up in your life? Tammy, would you like to start as a representative of our host?
Sure. So I have a very similar answer to Heather in the first round. I was an avid runner in high school and I guess through my younger years, and then life got a hold of me and I got away from physical exercise on a daily basis. And thank goodness, approximately, must be 10 years ago now, I fell back in love with running. And honestly, it is my time to really wear the day away. There's nothing better than being out the city streets, trails, in the middle of the woods, anywheres at all. I love to get away and take, even if it's only 20 minutes, but it's enough for me to wear the day away. And that really is how I invest in myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. It makes me want to get out for a run tomorrow, I have to tell you. Vicki, what about you?
Well, I'm not a runner, I'm a walker, but I really enjoy being outdoors and getting a good walk in. That is great for me. But more than that, I think for me, it's connecting with other women and spending time with them and really just feeding off that energy, the positive energy. And it's really important that the messaging that you get in your life feeds you rather than depletes you. So I think that it's really important to tune out anything that is toxic, that's sort of like draining you or making you feel less than, and surrounding yourself with really positive people in general, but women particularly, that can uplift you and motivate you and just sort of feed your energy, feed your desire, feed your passion, and drive you to becoming the best person that you can be. So that would be, for me, it's the circle of friends and women that I've come to know. I'm really fortunate that I get to work with women in my industry. And as you said, I am a makeup artist and entrepreneur. And it's much, much more than beauty. It's that inner beauty, that inner light that means everything to me. So
it sounds like you weed your garden as well, though, Vicki, you know, in terms
I'll
of
have to weed our garden.
yes, making sure that the energy that surrounds you is supportive and is not draining you and is not negative.
That's right, because we are our own worst enemies, and we tend to talk ourselves out of things and harp on the things that we in our minds have done wrong. You know, how many times have you done something, given a presentation, then afterwards all you can think about is, you know, you did this wrong, you could have said that better. You know, so having positive energy is so important. And I see a number of women on here who are commenting, who I know personally, and they are the positive women in my life. And I feel the more this journey goes for me, the broader the circle gets. I'm one of 4 girls in my family, and I was brought up around female energy. And I think it's really important to have positive female energy in your life.
Well, we've got lots here tonight, I'll tell you.
We could light up a stadium with it.
I think we could. Start
Yep.
Cunningham. How do you invest in you?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking when the others were talking that I can relate to a lot of what they're saying. So when Vicki just mentioned connecting with other women, that's an investment that I've chosen to make. I'm involved with an organization, IWF, the International Women's Forum, and it's a global movement of female leaders. And we come together and we celebrate each other and celebrate success. We do dine-arounds at members' houses where we just go and we connect with each other, share our challenges, share our successes, cheer each other on. So Vicki, I can really relate to what you said. Tammy, I get the exercise part too, but I'm kind of like Vicki, more of a walker, not a runner, unless I'm being chased by a bear. But I'll tell you what I've done to invest in myself. And this has been a huge step for me. 2 years, so it'll be 2 years in June that I signed up and started going to weekly psychotherapy. 2 years in June, every Tuesday from 3:30 to 4:30. It's in my calendar. And at first, I just told people I had a private appointment. You know, that's what my team at work thought. That's what my friends thought, that I was just in an appointment in my calendar. And I've stuck with it for 2 years. It's financially, it's been an investment in myself, literally a financial investment in myself, because anybody who knows that private therapy is not cheap. It's something that I feel very thankful to have been able to afford. $200 a session every week for almost 2 years. I mean, do the math. But it was time in my life. It was a time in my life when I realized I can't put this off any longer. I've dabbled in it. I've gone to see some therapists through the years, and I usually end up lasting, 2 months, 3 months. And then I think, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm all better. I don't need any more of this. But this was a real gift to myself that I gave myself 2 years next month.
I just want to clap because that's showing up to me, Star, seriously, like that is so important for us to say, yeah, we need help. And we do need an oxygen mask sometimes. And that can be therapy. To tell you the truth, my writing of my book was the best therapy that I have ever done, because I had to look at what I didn't like about myself before I could find my way back to liking myself. And that was really important to me. But at the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia, that stress in business is so related to mental wellness or unwellness. Can you talk about that? And let's stay with you for a minute.
I think there are a lot of circles. Mental health is a continuum, and it's something that is always changing. And I think when we have poor mental health, it leads us to make poor financial decisions, or we have poor financial health. When we have poor financial health, it contributes to poor mental health. So it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? And it is a cycle that we find ourselves in. At the Mental Health Foundation, we give out community grants from one end of the province to the other, and inpatient grants. And I can honestly say that so many of them are connected in the way of mental health challenges, mental illness and addiction, and financial trouble. They go hand in hand. So I think that that's something that we have to recognize. We have to recognize that asking for help is the normal thing to do. It's the best thing we can do, but sometimes it's the hardest thing to do, especially as business leaders. Like when you're leading an organization, entrepreneurs especially, they need to always look like they have all the answers, that they're strong, that they're pulled together. And nobody has that. Nobody has that. And as a leader at the Mental Health Foundation, I talk openly about my mental illness. I talk openly about the medications I take. I just talked openly about my therapy sessions. But I think that allows the other women who work in the office with me, alongside me, to realize it's okay to be human. It's okay to be a person in this job. And I think we need more female leaders who are willing to be vulnerable and to talk about, not just what's happening here in the office, but what's happening in my whole life.
Oh my gosh, Star, I think in a patriarchal paradigm, vulnerability is seen as weakness, but we women know that it's a strength. It is a superpower. And it does connect us in much more authentic ways. It's the work of Brené Brown. Authenticity is where you really find true connection, and connection is what gives you strength. It's like those roots that are intertwined beneath all the trees, and they're all stronger for it. So thank you so much for that. That is a mic drop moment for you to be able to share that with us. And I know you shared that with me when you interviewed me on my own podcast, The Canadian Love Map, last week. And I've had so many comments, makes me emotional. I've had so many comments from people talking about how courageous and awesome you are for having put that out there. And they're like, me too, me too, me too. So thank you, huge thanks. And let's go over to Tammy, because Tammy, you are in a financial industry. Let's talk about that connection between finances and stress, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. There is, beyond a doubt, there is a connection between financial stresses and mental health. And so oftentimes, wherever we are in our age category, whether we're young, coming out of school with a bunch of financial debt and trying to figure out, where's my first job going to be? And is it going to be enough to be able to pay my rent or get a car or, goodness, pay my student loans? Those are all big things as for a young individual. But then we also get a little bit later in our lives and we have our families. And I tell you, I can remember my husband and I with my first maternity leave, going to the car and digging under the seats to see if there was enough change to buy the next round of formula. Going through your coat pockets. Who's ever done that? Gone to the closet to the winter coats to see if there's a $5 bill in there. We've all done that. And it's okay to not be okay financially, or to feel burdened or overwhelmed with your finances. And it is absolutely connected. We see it every day, and every individual, whether you're a man or a woman, your finances play a big role in your lives, in your personal relationships. There's nothing that puts a bigger strain on your personal relationship than financial troubles. And I just want to let everybody know, let all the women know, it's okay to ask for help. That's what financial institutions are there for. And especially at the credit union, we're there to help you and walk through it, and never be embarrassed. Never be embarrassed. I guarantee you somebody else is worse off and we can help.
Actually,
Reach out.
Tammy, I would like to, I was going to ask you that specifically, and I was going to say, you know, this sounds like a brand question, and I don't mean for it to be at all, but I really would like you to delve into how credit unions are different than regular banks.
Absolutely. So you often hear times about the regular banks that, you know, there's a time limit. You've got an appointment and you got to jam the sale in there and go in and get the credit card and do all of these things. Credit unions are different. We are all about investing in you. And at my credit union, we actually have a statement that we say we invest in each other. And so what we do differently is we take the time, we sit down with you, we do not rush the conversation. And what we're looking for is financial solutions for you that meet your lifestyle, that takes you through all of the quadrants of your life. And I know I have some of my Omista peeps online tonight, so I'm going to talk about forfing. So what we do at Omista is we make sure that we talk with you about every quadrant of your life, whether it be family, occupation, recreation, or your future. So no matter where you are in your life, you have 4 financial quadrants, and they're all important. It's all about reaching your financial aspirations. And it might be just figuring out how I'm going to get out from a mound of debt. We'll sit down and we'll help you work through a budget, work through something that's comfortable for you. And you know what? If you really are in way over your head, we're there also to recommend to you how you can get out, whether it be a consumer proposal or potentially bankruptcy. But there are choices before taking that drastic step. So that's what we do a little differently.
Well, that sounds like you are taking care of people's mental health as well in terms of finances, which is awesome. I wonder, Vicki, I think you said something the other day in our preliminary conversation about debt not being a bad thing as a business person. Can you address that?
Yes, I think that a lot of, there's a misconception with a lot of people that debt is a negative thing, that, you know, you don't want to be in debt. But there are different types of debt. There is consumer debt, or debt that you really don't know what you spent that money on. But somehow you owe all of this money, and you don't really, if you were to go back and say, how did all of this add up? You can't really pinpoint how it all added up. And that can be stressful to somebody. But when you have debt that's associated to owning a home or investing in your own business, that can be very positive. And when you have an asset to show for that, or you have potential growth, you know, you've made an investment in your business, but it's going to result in growth of your business. That's a very positive thing. And I think that what we need to look at is educating ourselves, you know, regarding debt, regarding, you know, what are the right things to invest in. And I get a kick out of this generation that I'm sorry, but I'm 51 years old. So I'm older, I'm a grandmother. And, you know, calling it an investment bag, or, you know, maybe it is an investment in that it will go up in value, or saying I'm going to invest in that dress. Well, you're not investing in that dress because it's never going to go up in value. It's going to go down in value. An investment is something that goes up in value. So I think really educating ourselves on how to be financially smart about things, you know, saving for yourself, you know, investing in the right things. It's a very deep and broad topic, and it's something that bankers can do far better than I can. I've been out of the industry for years. But like I said earlier, a lot of the things that I learned when I work in the banking industry have carried forward with me through my life and have helped me make some very sound decisions personally and in my business. So I think it's getting hooked up with the right banker, the right people that can help educate you. The banks do want you to know, you know, the credit union does want you to know. They want you to know the information to improve your situation.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a great example, I think, and I'm going to put this out there because I'm sure there are other women in the audience tonight who might relate to this. I left my job in television almost 20 years ago, and I created a small business, but I've never identified as a business person. And that's the imposter syndrome rising on me again, and because of that, I've had trouble growing past a certain point because it's just me. And when we had our preliminary conversation the other day, and you said, debt is not a bad thing, I thought, oh, yeah, that's how I have to grow my business, by actually going into a little bit of debt and not seeing that as failure. Because in my fixed mindset, I think of debt as failure.
Yeah, it comes from the older way of thinking, where, you don't want to be in the minus. But think of it this way: if you purchase a home, you are going to be in debt. Okay. You have this debt, the mortgage that you're paying off, but you're also acquiring an asset. So after a number of years, you have this home that is paid for, and it's your asset. It's part of your financial worth. So when you invest in your business, if you are to never invest in your business as far as financial investment goes, never take a loan out. Just stay working with whatever you have or whatever you make. Your potential for growth is very limited. If you take a loan, right? You take a loan out, and you're able to purchase all of this inventory, or all of, make an investment in marketing or whatever it is, your potential for growth expands so much. So you can turn your little business into a much larger business. So absolutely, changing that mindset is very, very critical.
So Tammy, just kidding.
One alone.
Come see us.
There you go.
Check out your credit union in your neighborhood.
Okay, but really, seriously though, I want to turn that back to you if you don't mind, Tammy. What do you think? Do you see that kind of perspective of debt? Is there a difference between men and women in the way we think of debt and are comfortable with it?
I think women were the natural savers of the household. And maybe it goes back to our moms hiding money in the cookie jar. I'm not sure where it comes from. But yes, oftentimes women are a little less risk adverse and a little more conservative. But I think with great women like us here on this panel, we can take that and show that, we have great business smarts, whether it be running our own household at home, or whether it be starting a small business or scaling our business. We can do it. And debt is not a bad word. It's definitely something that we can use to our advantage.
Mm-hmm. And Star, let me turn it over to you. What do you think are the top tips or pieces of advice you can give women in business in terms of creating their wellness overall, whether that's, as you've already said, everyone has said, the financial and mental stress are very connected. What can we do to really fortify ourselves?
I think one of the things we can do is focus on literacy. And it's, when we're talking about financial literacy and the good debt, the bad debt, my head automatically goes to good stress, bad stress. It's like our mental health. So is stress a bad thing? No, because if we didn't have stress, we'd all still be in our pajamas, and, we wouldn't push ourselves to do things. We wouldn't grow. But is anxiety a good thing? No. Anxiety is a diagnosed mental illness that a lot of people get mixed up, and you'll hear a young person say, my anxiety is really bad today. I can't do that. My anxiety is keeping me from sleeping at night because I have a test the next day. It's stress that's keeping you from sleeping at night because you have a test the next day. Stress is a normal, natural human response that we all need to experience. So I think to fortify ourselves, to become stronger, we need to do a better job of arming ourselves with information. And I think understanding the language that we use and challenging the way we think about things is really critically important.
Yes, I think that's a really important point. And changing the way we think about things and actually seeing ourselves as being normal. I think the danger is that when we are really stressed or anxious, our tendency, okay, I'm going to just say myself, I'll just speak in I terms. I am hard on myself when I feel stressed or I feel anxious. That's been my old paradigm. I'm really getting past it. Now I'm much better at catching that and going, no, it's okay. Everybody feels like this. And that's a big part of my mission right now, is to say, we're all in this together. Like, we're all struggling through life. Life is a struggle. Life is delightful. Life is messy. Life is awesome. It's all of that. And I think what you're saying is, really we need to be recognizing that we have to take care of ourselves, and it's okay to do that. That's so important.
It's funny, I was at a I was at a conference all day today for the TEMA Foundation, and they exist to support the mental health of first responders. So the people who run into dangerous situations while everybody else is running away. And we spent a lot of time today talking about the power of peer support. And I am a huge proponent of peer support. And there was a quote that he was a retired police officer and firefighter, because he left the police service and went into firefighting. And when he said it, it was so simple. I'd never heard it before. And you're just making me think of it now. And he said, people don't care about what you know, but they want to know that you care.
Oh, yes.
And that really kind of plays into, as women, we're often so worried that we don't know enough. Should I offer my voice to that? Or, that's not what it's all about. And that line just really stuck with me. People don't care what you know. They'd rather know that you care.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And the TEMA Foundation is a great example of how anyone can change the world. The Conter family, after Tema Conter was died in a very tragic, horrible way, the Conter family made a beautiful silk purse out of a sausier. That's a terrible expression, but they took the worst situation and they have made beauty out of it, because they realized that first responders who showed up to her murder were traumatized. And no one was talking about the trauma of first responders. And so they said, we want to create a foundation. And, that has changed so many lives, and it's gone on to create ripples so that our society, I think, is much more engaged in talking about how trauma plays out in our lives. So I'm curious, Tammy, how is it that you incorporate into your work helping people change the world? I know that seems like a huge thing, but I'm saying everyone can, right?
Everyone can. Everyone absolutely can. So we really like to support women. We like to support businesses that are having an impact in the world. And I guess you can see this corner, the big B behind me, and that stands for B Corporation. And it's about doing business in a different way. It's about measuring yourself on a triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit. So the way in which we like to give back to our community is to invest not only in our people, but all the people around. What's important to the members of our community, and what can we do to make the world in which we live a better place? And so we do it in little ways. We invest in the community, as I know every credit union in Atlantic Canada and straight across the world. Credit unions are worldwide. They're all about investing in the communities and investing in their members. So there's the number of ways are just too numerous to even mention, but it is. It's about doing things like we're doing today in sponsoring this Investing in You conference and having the tough conversations and being brave to tackle the issues that are out there today.
Yes. And Vicky is a perfect example of someone who's changing the world person by person.
Oh,
No, really, Vicky, I mean that. So, people would say, oh, you have your own makeup line, but I want to dig beneath that. How are you changing the world?
Thank you for asking me this, because it really is, for me, my passion. The way it started is not the way it is now. The way it started is it was a hobby. It was an interest, a passion, a creative outlet for me that turned into a career, a second career after my banking career. And it let me just delve into my creative side. And it was so rewarding because I love befores and afters and everything. And I just love the transformation of helping a woman, look more beautiful. But as the years went on, it became not just look more beautiful. It was helping a woman see herself in a way that she had never seen herself before. More beautiful, more capable, more powerful, and more relevant. And for me, my mission right now, and I get emotional when I talk about it because I'm an immigrant. I started from nothing, and I know what it is to go from literally nothing to becoming. And I think that a lot of women in particular go their entire lives, and they, especially mature women, have never felt really worthy or relevant or seen. And then I will encounter a woman who's in her 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And something as simple as a makeover and just talking to her and connecting with her, and you see the transformation, you see the way she looks at herself in the mirror, and the way she walks out of the room is not the same as the way she walked into it. And for me, that's extremely powerful. So my business is now focused on teaching women rather than just doing their makeup and sending them out the door, which that can be great too. But it's teaching them how they can use that little tool. And it seems like a frivolous thing, but it's really not. And, make their lives better and see themselves better and feel more confident in everything that they do in life. Whether it's showing up for work, whether it's being an entrepreneur, whether it's having photos done for your photo shoot because you have to, you're that realtor that has to have your photo out everywhere and you dread it. But you come see somebody like me and you're able to see yourself and say, wow, I look really good. I look the way I deep down know I am capable of doing my job, basically. The image matches the talent. So I don't know, that for me is what I try to do. And it means everything to me. The women I meet mean everything to me. I can't leave my work because I just love it so much. I love the women so much.
It takes me back to the metaphor of gardening before. We talked about weeding your garden, but it sounds like there's a gardening metaphor there with the way you are nurturing and growing your clients individually. Would you say that's your superpower?
I would say that my superpower is, I think my superpower is making every woman that sits with me feel extremely special. And that is not something that I can just put on. It is me. I am the woman who champions women. I love women. I think that we're amazing. And it doesn't matter whether you are an entrepreneur, you're a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter what you're doing in life. You are contributing so much to your family, to your community. And I just think more women need to be told, you're amazing. You're doing an amazing job, because we don't get told that enough. I grew up in a completely different environment. Culturally, I didn't have anyone to sort of, no one paved the way for me in my culture. It was very much you stay at home, you raise your kids, you don't, you get an education, but you don't really have a career. And you sort of just depend on the man to do the thing. And so I kind of carved my own way. And when I am told by the younger generation of women that, you've really inspired me, to me, that means the world, because more women should be more visible. And I really want to give credit to the credit union, because I know that you do invest a lot in women entrepreneurs, women businesses. And that's really important because we have a lot to give, a lot to offer.
It's a fun fact. Credit unions were the first financial institution to lend to women in their own name. And really, really proud of that. And so many firsts, that innovative ways and innovative things that credit unions have done. So amen to women and getting loans in their own name.
Imagine, yeah.
Can you imagine?
We've come a long way, baby.
We sure have.
I should say, I'm going to tell the audience at this point, if you'd like to ask any questions, you can put them in the comments, but we're just going to wrap up for a few more minutes with this panel, but invite you, if you'd like to ask a question, to go ahead in the comments. Tammy, what is your superpower in business and in life?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask this, Nancy. I would have to say it's my ability to see my cup as overflowing, the ability to be able to be positive and to think my way through situations. And I believe that my positivity does flow over to other women and everyone that I work with. And I know that people have heard me say this before, but do things that fill your cup. Shy away from those things that take away from your cup. And I just have an ability to, I think, fill my cup.
I love that. I think, we see each other's strengths, we see each other shining, and yet we don't always see our own light and we don't like to talk about it. So I know this is a hard question to answer, but Star, I'm still going to ask you anyway. I see, you're an award-winning worker in the world of mental health. You have been an award-winning broadcaster and a best-selling author. What is your superpower now, do you think?
Wow. I would have to say it is starting conversations and making connections. So connecting with people where they are. I love to just unplug and look someone else in the eye and make a connection. And it kind of goes back to where I started, by being vulnerable and by being my authentic self. I don't have to try to make connections. They just happen. You attract them. Yes. Because when you open up, you give others the ability to do the same. So I think that's probably my superpower is, connecting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that when I take off the mask, other people take off the mask. If I keep on my mask, other people are going to, have that same, there's a part in my book, I talk about being at a party when I was in my 30s, and a friend of mine with a bunch of women, all dressed to the nines. It was a charity event. And this one friend said, we said, do you want to go downtown afterwards and go out for a drink? And she said, no, my husband and I are really having trouble in our marriage right now. And I think I'd just like to go home. And it was like revolutionary. Like, she was saying this with people around who might hear. And I was in a space in my life at that time where I would never have shared that kind of information. And it taught me so much. Like, it was a pivotal moment in my life where I went, wow. And I became so much closer to her because she revealed, her inner life. And we're always comparing our inner life to everybody else's outer life, which is not good for our mental health.
Sure isn't.
What final words do you have? If I give you a chance to wrap up, what would you love to say to the women who are participating in this call? And there are a lot of them. So exciting that so many people signed up.
I'm going to go back to something that I've learned in mental health first aid. And so mental health first aid is like regular first aid, but it's to train you how to react if you come upon someone who is in crisis or struggling and needs help. Many people will freeze or just keep walking by because they don't know what to do. But what you're trained to do in mental health first aid is to follow an acronym called ALGEE, ALGEE. And I won't get into all the details of what every letter means, but the L stands for listen. And there's a word after listen. It's listen non-judgmentally.
Oh.
And I think if there was a piece of advice that I would share with everyone on this call this evening, it would be to remember that it's so important to practice that when you're listening to yourself. We find it easier to be non-judgmental when we're listening to someone else. And it's something that you have to be trained not to do. Don't be judgmental when you're talking to other people about their concerns and their issues and their problems. But I think my takeaway for tonight is let go of that judgment for yourself too.
Right on. Well, thank you. That's beautiful. Tammy, over to you.
I guess my final words would be that there's two really important times in your life when you should consider investing in yourself. And that is, maybe it was 20 years ago, depending upon your age. Maybe it was 30 years ago. Maybe it was 10 years ago, depending upon your age, when you should have been investing in yourself. And the other time is right now. Make the change. Whatever you need to do, now is the perfect time to do it. So take the time, take the energy, and invest in yourself.
Ooh, I got chills when you said that. It's like truth bumps. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Vicki, what about you?
I think because there are women out there listening in every age category, I would say it's never too late to do the thing that you love. And for a lot of women, their fear keeps them trapped in a place where they can't get past it. And I think that it's to look inward and see what is it that is your passion, because the thing that you love to do, you may not realize it, but you can most likely make a business out of that or make a career out of that. That thing that you love is not limited to just you. There are going to be other people out there that connect with you, and you will succeed based on that. It's never too late to start. And start with what you love, because it's, like I said, it's not just you who loves it. There are going to be other people who connect, and be your authentic self. Connect with people based on who you are. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because vulnerability is the thing that gravitates people to each other.
Yeah, I so agree. And, I think that's something that all the panelists today have in common. And I'm going to ask the others to put their cameras and microphones back on, because I really think all of the panelists tonight have that in common, that they are showing up, but they're also, the expression is do what you love and you never work a day in your life. Can everyone agree that, what they're doing is filling their cup right now, in Tammy's language?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It really makes life so much easier when you're loving what you're doing. And I do think that there's so many people who are feel stuck. And as you say, Vicki, fear can be a huge impediment in our lives in terms of making change. But if you hear that message about, talking to a credit union, for instance, and getting guidance about how you might be able to create your own business. We live in such a different world now. It's not the same kind of world where we all got a job out of university and we stay in it for 30, 40, 50 years. So I would like to turn it over to a couple of questions, and unless anyone else has a parting comment, given what I know the three panelists who were first might like to have a response to what they've just heard. Let's do that first. I'm going rogue again. Julie, what did you think about what you heard in the second panel?
I thought it was so, we talked a lot about vulnerability. And I feel like that was, again, like not just the permission to be, because I think it's that moment where you're like, wow, you know, did I look at that person differently? Because sometimes we think if we're vulnerable, people are going to judge us, or like, how's that going to look? But when you see someone else doing it, and in fact, they inspire such a feeling in you, and you get this gratitude for them and this connection to them and respect for them, you see that you can do that for others. So I think like the permission, but also the modeling of like how that feels in your body, what that does for you and for the other person was so powerful. It was really great. I'm in awe. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was so rich. Tia, what about you?
I was loving every bit of it. I wanted to put my camera on and my mic, especially Star almost had me in tears. Tammy, I actually just did a post on Facebook and I just put in capital letters, invest in yourself right now. And I want every person that's a part of my network to start looking at investing in themselves. And Vicky, girl, we need to link up because you are speaking my
100.
language.
100p.
Yes, we have to link up. So yeah, I appreciate it. I thank you, everybody who was speaking tonight. The last set of panelists, I was just like, you don't understand what I was doing behind the screen. So thank you.
I want to be there when you link up. Okay. So,
Oh yes, the link up's going to be real.
oh my God. Heather, what about you? What was your reaction to the second panel?
I'll just echo some of the comments that have already been said, and it just seems to hit so close to home on so many fronts. Like, it's remarkable how we all come from different backgrounds and we're in different industries, and you know, we have different day-to-day and different life experiences, but we're all so connected. It's so incredibly powerful and moving. And I kind of wish we could bottle all this up and like tell everybody. It's so powerful, and it's really nice to hear, you know, some lived experience, and also very motivating. And as I'm in the early years of my career, I also think like this has been just a wow, like to hear firsthand from so wealth of knowledge it's really moving. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you all. But we're not quite done because we do have some questions, and I'd like to start with this one. This is from Diane Campbell. Who would be willing to share simple steps in money management to help low-income women gain financial independence? I'm looking at the questions and I'm making the executive decision. That's the most important thing I would like to deal with right now. Who would like to take that?
I think I could take it.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
you
I want to
start,
hear
Tammy.
Tia first. Yeah,
You go first, Tia.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to speak from my experience. I grew up in low income, grew up in Mulgrave Park. And as a single mother at 14 and 17, of course, I never had a job. I was on assistance for many years. So it wasn't even low income. I was literally below low income and utilizing food banks and everything else. It comes to a point where you have to literally budget. I know it's, you know, something people say all the time, but every bit of your money has to be budgeted, and you have to be, you know, smart with your budget. And I mean that by saying you cannot deprive yourself either. When you start depriving yourselves as single mothers or families of those little nice things, that's when you start falling back in a trap. And you have to gradually build into your budget. You can't just say, I'm going to start my budget tomorrow morning. I'm not getting my nails done. I'm not getting my eyelashes done. I'm just going to live right. It ain't going to work. You have to gradually start cutting out the things that are non-essential, and just work with the things that are essential until you get your foot on the ground again. This too shall pass. So if you are living low income, things do get better and it will pass.
Yeah. Having a role model like you in their life would make a big difference, Tia. I would like to say
well,
that.
they can reach out www.bwiecanada.com. And I'm always there to talk to people about whatever, but I keep it real. I don't sugarcoat. And I talk about my lived experiences all the time to inspire other women to move forward.
Yeah. Okay. That's so powerful. Tammy?
Yeah, I want to jump in on this one as well. I understand that any income level, the idea of starting a budget can be very overwhelming. It can be like, I don't know anything about finances. I don't know anything about accounting. How do I even start a budget? Do I write it on the back of an envelope? What do I do? There are people out there to help you, and the credit unions have programs. We have a wonderful program. It's called the Each One Teach One program. It has nothing to do with any specific credit union, and you can reach out to any credit union in your area and welcome them into your organization. We go into schools, we go into community centers, we go everywhere, and we have modules of financial literacy training. And we'd love to get this into the schools. No doubt about it. We really would. But it's all on basic, really relatable financial information. And it's called the Each One Teach One program. So to our question asker, reach out. We would love to, any credit union would love to come in and give you the tools and teach you how to do that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so inspired right now. I want to share another question. This is, and I hope I get the pronunciation right. Fantanesh.
No, her pronunciation, because that's my girl. Her pronunciation is Fantanish.
Fantanish. What a
yes.
Fantanish. All right. As entrepreneurs whose businesses have expanded, perhaps drastically, and have many ups and downs, how do you deal with doubt? And how do you deal with failure? Do you have any examples? Thank you. Vicky wants to go. Vicky?
I want to go on this one. Yeah, you will always doubt yourself. You will always have fear. Always. It doesn't matter how big you get or how long you've been doing it. It's, you know what? And you can't listen to, sometimes the people that are closest to you are going to be the ones that want to talk you out of things. They're not the ones that are always going to be in your corner. You got to get with women who are in business, women who are leaders, women who are motivators, who are movers and shakers, because they will, if you can get under somebody's wing, that is a great way as well to grow. Be smart about the risks that you take. Look at your business and say, ask yourself the question of, what is it that is really paying off for me? What do I do that gets an immediate feedback that like jumps my numbers up? That what do I do on social media? If you are on social media, what stories do I post that immediately result in sales? Do more of that. Do more of what works. Do less of what doesn't. Focus your energy on the things that are working for you. And because those are the things that people are connecting to, the things that people want to see more of, you know. But yeah, there's so much. And then try to find resources, people that can help you, whether it's the credit union, whether it's Black women in excellence. Like, did I say that right, Tia? Did I?
Oh, girl, you got it down pat. You already know. It's okay, Vicky.
Yeah, go see Tia, go just find the people. There are resources out there for you, you know, connect, network, you know, and if you're not a very sociable person, and by sociable, I mean, I'm sort of like an introverted extrovert, you can connect in ways that are safe and comfortable for you, you know, those intimate connections. Yeah. But yeah, and really just take the calculated risks, and risk can be very, very scary. But it becomes less scary when you take a risk and you see the payoff. And then your next risk is a lot less scary.
I love the theme that I've seen. It's like a thread that's come through the evening. Ask for help, whether it's financial or emotional or mental health related. And there's another question from an anonymous attendee that says, what do you do when you can recognize a mental health problem you are having and validate what is happening, but you still don't have a solution to overcome it? And I'm going to toss that one to you, Star.
Sure, that's a question that we get asked a lot. And I think ask for help. Right. You know, we just reiterated that, but there is help out there. There are resources, there's a system, you just have to understand how to navigate it. And I think the biggest thing is know yourself, pick up on those signs when it's not just regular stress, when you notice things have changed and chronically changed for you. It's not you're not having a bad day, or it's much bigger, broader than that. And talk to somebody about it. Ask for help. It's the number one piece of advice.
Yeah, you're so right. Ask for help. It comes back to that. And when we're afraid to ask for help, we do ourselves a disservice, no matter what realm of our lives we're talking about. So I want to say that I am humbled to have been part of this. I'm so blown away by all of you and the way you show up in the world. And I wish we could do this every month.
I know. It's been
Okay,
so
credit union, let's do it every month.
every month. Standing appointment. I'm down.
Yeah, it's really, I think asking for help is about creating connections and knowing that we don't have to have all the answers for ourselves. And that's true whether, you go see Tammy for answers at the credit union, or you go see Vicky to feel a little better because you make yourself look a little better, and talk to someone who's going to build you up. And it's going to see Tia, who's going to kick your ass in all the right ways. But anyway, everyone on this panel has just been amazing, truly. Julie, Heather, the way you speak so clearly with so much clarity. Star, your vulnerability and being willing to talk about your own mental health while you're also helping so many people and making such an impact in our province and in our country with the work you're doing around mental health. So I'm just going to go have a big cry because I feel so full and happy right now. It's a happy cry. I really appreciate everything that people have contributed tonight and your willingness to be part of this and show up. So thank you. Do you guys want to stay on while I talk about prizes?
Yeah.
I just want to say a couple things before we go on to talk about prizes. One is I want to thank you, Nancy, for doing such an amazing job tonight. And congratulations on your best-selling book.
Oh, it's not.
Are we allowed to say that?
It's out now. Well, I just got.
Can you please?
Remember I said this is a secret, Vicky.
Yeah, we can't tell Vicky nothing. We can't tell Vicky nothing no more.
I can't tell me. You can't tell me.
I love the fact she's a publicist.
Blame it on the wine. Blame it on the wine.
No, I got great news while we were warming up tonight. I got very exciting news about my book. And so you'll just have to stay tuned next week, watch a national newspaper or two, and you never know what might show up.
I never said a thing.
Thank you, Vicky. I love that. Thank you. This has been a joy for me to be a part of, truly. So I'm in next time.
You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. There's no wonder you're a star.
Well, listen,
you made us all feel really safe. I felt so safe on here talking.
Good. Yeah, that's the idea. I really think we have served our audience well tonight by the way people have showed up fully and in vulnerability, and you're willing to share your expertise, and you had a bunch of questions given to you that I might ask, and I asked virtually none of them. So thank you for putting up with me, but I think, it was a rich, organic conversation, and that serves our audience really well. So thank you to everyone who took part today and who was out in our audience. We want to say that if you want to connect with any of the panelists that joined us today, or if we didn't touch on a question you were hoping to get answered, we want to connect with you. So you can reach out to us on the socials at ATL, as in Atlantic Credit Unions. ATL Credit Unions, at ATL Credit Unions. Thanks again to everybody for joining our third annual virtual conference event, Investing in You. We really hope today's discussions provided more understanding and tips and lots of takeaways. I learned a lot, and I'm telling you, very sincerely, as a very small business person, I am ready to like hit the ground running. I want to go tomorrow morning and say, okay, what do I need to do? I need to call Tammy, have a meeting with Tammy. I need to meet with all of these women and just call and say, you know, can you give me more advice and ask for help? That's what I'm going to do. So now the giveaway. Are you ready? We've got some really lovely things. At the end of the conference, so once we go off the air, as it were, your names are all going to be entered for a draw for a chance to win a basket filled with local goodies from across the Atlantic region. And some of those items include a canvas tote bag from Black Women in Excellence, courtesy of our panelist, Tia Upshaw. Oh, a copy of Nancy Regan's book, From Showing Off to Showing Up.
Yes.
Atlantic Credit Union merch, some delicious chocolate goodies from Peace by Chocolate and Newfoundland Chocolate Company, Sweet Spot Labs fragrance-free balancing wash, courtesy of our panelist, Julie Chamberlain. And just so you know, we didn't really say, Julie made reference to the fact that her business, her product is of an intimate nature. It's talking about your sweet spot. Just to be clear. Is that clear? Okay. It is a brilliant line. It really is. Google it. Sweet spot. A lipstick and face mask from Vicky Mina Makeup. Thank you, Vicky, so much.
You're very welcome.
Awesome. And so we've got baskets for each of the provinces. And if you're one of the lucky winners, we will be in touch with details on the email that you registered with at Eventbrite. And we'll also be announcing our winners in our social channels at ATL Credit Unions. So I think we're done. Anybody else?
Sorry, I just gotta say this one quote that came through. I get these every morning. They're like affirmations. And it says, when a woman finally learns that pleasing the world is impossible, she becomes free to learn how to please herself.
Amen.
So I wanted to end it with that. Sorry, Nancy.
That's no, that was the perfect, you know what, you followed your instinct, which is one of our superpowers as women, I think. And that, Tia, was the perfect ending. So I would like to sign off. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, panelists. I hope we'll see you here again. Thank
Absolutely.
you, credit unions.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.